Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about this Rove R2-4K Dashcam. Alright, so I've now had this for a month and I use it all the time. Obviously I drive for my work, so I'm constantly in my car getting great videos. If you want to see those, I try and post compilations of the good ones I get on my TikTok. Links will be down in the description below. But you might be surprised how many bad drivers are out on the roads, and this has made it kind of fun to find them. Instead of just cursing them out and getting like, oh, I think more like, oh, I'm gonna stay behind this guy. I'm sure another one's coming. Overall, let's just give a quick overview. Is it worth it? Yes, 100%. This is a 4K camera that is mounted on my dashboard that has a really wide angle view, provides fantastic video. I haven't ever really dug in to see how well it does with license plates and things like that. I know closer up it can, and I have a couple of videos where I've actually had to downgrade the resolution so you can't actually read the license plates and things like that. But overall, fantastic. It's been really great. The things that I changed from what I did in the first video. If you aren't familiar, go back. Links will be right up there. You can watch that video real quick and come back, and then actually I think it's a longer video. I'm sorry, but you can come back and you'll understand more about why I changed the things or what things I did change. Number one, loop. The loop setting is how long each video clip is. Rather than this continuing to record a 20, 30, 40, 60-minute video as you're driving across the country or, you know, wherever you're going. Sometimes I drive for an hour and there's like a little 1-minute clip in there. I don't want to have to scrub that whole thing. So instead, I then set it to a 1-minute loop. There are options where you can do 4 minutes, 3 minutes, let's see, 4 minute, 3 minute, 2 minute, 1 minute, and then until you've reached maximum file size, which it will vary depending on if you have this set to 4K, 1080, what resolution. I don't do that. I have it set to 1-minute loop, so I can just jump through and be like, okay, I want this 1-minute clip here, this 1-minute clip here, and then it actually does overlap just a hair, so that when you're stitching them together on things like Adobe Premiere, you can make sure that there's no gap in time where it's recorded. So it's going to record a little bit on this one, a little bit on that one, that will then overlap each other, which is very useful, especially, I don't need to go into the details on that, but I do the 1-minute loop. It's much easier to find things. Turns out a lot of things happen in less than 60 seconds. And then one thing I found I use all the time is, so that I can catch those ones, I hit this little triangle button right here. So this triangle button is, I have to hit it twice because the first one will wake up the screen and the second one will then start the locked recording. So if you go into the menu here on the dash cam, it'll show as this is locked, you can't just delete it. But if you take out your micro SD card and put it in your computer, which is what I usually do at the end of a day if I know that I had one that I wanted to save, I will just plug it into my computer, and it actually has a separate folder to where it saves your regular videos all in this main folder, and then there's a subfolder that saves all of the ones that you've marked or have been marked with things like parking mode. When it's activated while you're away from your vehicle, if it gets jarred, it'll actually save that section and put it in that folder, as well as if you hit a bump on the road that's really rough, or maybe you got in an accident and your vehicle jars enough, it'll say, hey, it'll make a little chime recording. Let's see if I can activate it real quick here. We're now recording, you know, as if we're driving down the road, and I'm like, oh, something just happened. I hit the triangle and it does that beep. That means either you hit a bump, or because we have a couple of train tracks in the area that are really rough, and that'll set it off. But most of the time, regular driving doesn't set it off. And if you're wondering, we'll talk about the bump settings later. But I can hit that little triangle, it'll record that 1-minute section, put it in that other folder, and then if maybe I pushed it a minute after the event happened, I can look at that file name and say, hey, this is recording 781, I gotta go back to 780, and that'll have where the event actually happened. So it makes it easier to find the things that you actually want to see, the videos you want to save. or maybe you were in an accident and it didn't catch it, push the triangle button, it'll then start recording. But if the screen turns off, you have to push the triangle once to turn on the screen and the triangle again to start the recording. It's not saving it in that other folder unless you hear that beeping noise. Relocation, I thought about doing a relocation on mine. I'm not sure if I want to do it yet. If I relocated my dash camera, I actually would want to put it on the left side of my mirror so it's actually in my view so I can see it more easily, whereas where it is right now is kind of off to the right of my mirror and behind it, which is a good place if I don't want to obstruct my view, but I also find myself putting my head down and be like, ooh, was that in the frame? I don't know. So rather than doing that, it might be useful if you're checking it more often to put it on the left side of the mirror, more in your view. But for now, I think I'm gonna still leave it there. Impact sensitivity, so I kind of started talking about that here. So if we go here, turn it back on here.
Video settings.
All right, so here in the video settings, we go down to G sensor. So on our G sensor here, if we tap that, I have mine set to a 3, which is a door slam, a car bumping into yours. So if it's a small little fender bender thing like that, it might not set it off, but I find that it goes off often enough when I don't need it that I don't want to set it more sensitive, but also I don't feel like it's enough that I would want to make it less sensitive. So one is a low impact, so it's a very soft hit will set off the sensor, whereas you can go all the way up to a 9, which is a high impact, requires something real big hitting it just to set it off. So if you're in like a sports car that has a really tight suspension and so it might jostle a little bit more, I would recommend changing to a higher impact detection required to set off your G sensor for your parking mode and for while driving. So I'm gonna go back to number 3, which is almost a low and medium, so perfectly in the middle of low and medium impact. Works great for my Toyota Corolla. One thing that I think I said in the last video is that it doesn't automatically rewrite over old video, and I found that to be incorrect. It does automatically rewrite over the oldest video clip, so it can continually recording. You don't have to pull out your memory card if you don't grab a clip. If there's a clip that you want to save, make sure you pull that card out and put it in your computer, download that file, and then put your card back in. You don't have to format the card every time and all that stuff. Just copy those files off, put it back in, and it'll then rewrite over the oldest file on the dash cam. So the format reminder on here, I think mine is still on, but I don't think it's necessary, where it does automatically rewrite over older files. And then, so a lot of these have been like, hey, optimizing and like, hey, check out this cool feature, but I have one major complaint for this, and it is my impact sensitivity, I understand, is a little bit more sensitive, but if I get into my car a little bit too rough, or I close my door a little bit too much, or maybe I have a passenger who slams their door getting in or out, it'll set off the dash cam in parking mode. If parking mode is set off while you are in the process of starting your vehicle, it won't record the rest of your drive. It'll go off and then stop recording after 1 minute or however long you have it set to. Interjection note here, parking mode, I have that, I think I initially set it up to record for 3 minutes if parking mode is set off, but where the battery on this dash cam only lasts about 5 minutes, I changed it down to 1 minute because most things will happen within 60 seconds, and if it doesn't happen within that 60-second window, we're probably fine. I haven't run into any issues yet. I haven't had a chance to test it out really with the parking mode being set off. So where it is set up to record for 60 seconds, it'll record for those 60 seconds and then it'll shut off and it won't record the rest of your trip that you're driving. So what I've learned to do is unplug the USB in my cigarette lighter and then wait until the screen turns off, showing that parking mode is now off, and then I just plug the USB back in. It'll say, parking mode activated while you were away, and then I can then continue on with my trip. and I only miss maybe the first 60 seconds, which you just hope that nothing happens in that time frame. This does have the option to where if you have it on the 24-hour mode, it'll record a time lapse until parking mode is set off, and then continue recording a time lapse. And that's something maybe I'll do in the future, but I have to hardwire it first. If I ever end up hardwiring this to my car so that it can have power 24/7, I will be sure to make a video of that for you. The last thing I want to talk about is I started with a 32 gigabyte SD card in this. 32 gigabytes I found is good for about 1 day of driving for me. On a busier day, it doesn't even record the whole day. It'll cut off my morning if I don't get it saved ahead of time. So a lot of times I found myself going in here, using the Wi-Fi mode, connecting my phone and downloading the files onto my phone, and then that way I don't lose that later in the day if I end up driving more that day. So the first upgrade I did was I got a new SD card. I ended up getting a Samsung 512 gigabyte micro SD card. So 512 gigabytes is the maximum that this guy can hold. It can't handle a 1 terabyte drive or anything like that. 512 is the biggest. One thing you do want to make sure that you have with this when you are recording in 4K is that it has the U3 symbol there. There's also a V30 that also indicates the speed of your micro SD card, but I would definitely recommend making sure that you have the U3 logo. That indicates the read and write speed that this can handle. And the best deal I found was on this Samsung Evo Select micro SD card, and I think it was $54 on sale, but at regular price is like $65 or something like that, $69. But if you use the Honey browser extension, which I've mentioned in many of my videos, you can put it on a drop list, and then when it goes on sale you can get it. It went on sale, I pulled the trigger and got it, and I don't regret it because I don't think I have filled it up just yet. So after, I think I've been using this for 4 or 5 days, and we're at 169 gigabytes, which means I still have 300 left. So this can record for a couple of weeks maybe before it'll actually start rewriting over old video, which is extremely great if you're like, hey, I have this video, I just haven't had a chance to save it, or maybe you're going on a road trip. That's a lot of hours driving. I actually have a road trip coming up. I'm actually moving here in the next month. I think I just got a couple of weeks left before I move, and I plan on using my dash cam as I'm moving across the country. Now earlier I mentioned the Wi-Fi mode on this, and so it has a mode where it can then broadcast Wi-Fi, and you can connect your phone to this dash cam via the app that you can download on your phone and then access all the files, save stuff, download it to your phone, upload it to the cloud, delete stuff off of the camera, or move it to the secure folder, or whatever you need to do. You can manage it from the app. However, downloading files using the Wi-Fi is painfully slow. That's why I always bring my SD card into the house, plug it in my computer, and transfer it. It's just so much faster. The Wi-Fi on these is just slow. I almost wish it was Bluetooth. I don't know if that would be an option to have it be like a Bluetooth device that it just transfers the data that way, and maybe that would have made this cost more. And one of the big selling points for this Rove R2-4K Dashcam is the price. Today, as of recording, it's $119. That is a fantastic deal. I couldn't be more happy with that. That's just perfect. So for $119, I can deal with poor Wi-Fi. It is an option if you need it. Like you're on the road, you're like, hey, I need to download this file. But there are better options out there. And one of them being pulling the SD card out. And you know what also would work? I use this guy all day, every day. This is a little adapter. This has USB-C on one end, USB-C on one end, and then a whole bunch of ports all over the other. So we have a full-size SD card and a micro SD card port. And if you just plug this end into your phone, put your SD card in here, you can transfer files just like that. I think that would make it a better option, is to have something like this to transfer those files if you wanted to real quickly, have something like this available, or, you know, just wait till you get home if you can. But if you're on the road, which is exactly gonna be my situation here in the next little bit, you can either use the Wi-Fi or use a little adapter there. I'll have a link down in the description below as well for that adapter. I think that's it. If you have additional questions on your Rove R2-4K Dashcam, let me know what you have. Let me know what you think of yours and what issues you might have, or what you love about yours, and I might make another update video here in about 6 months or a year to kind of give an update of, hey, is it still working? I've seen reviews on Amazon that somebody's like, after a week it stopped working. Mine has been working fantastic. I love it. It's been a fantastic investment, and yeah, and if, you know, if there, in the case that there is an accident, you got that protection too. So let me know in the comments below your thoughts on this dash cam, or whether you're having issues, you love something about it, or you just have a question before you buy. Leave those questions and comments in the comment section down below. And if I've earned it, please consider subscribing. And in the meantime, I will see you guys in the next video.